Recording provides an overview of the additional features and options available to an ESS user with the Leave Manager role. All ESS users by default are granted the user role. And if you want to see more information about just the user role, please review the user role recording in our November 2024 newsletter. However, this video will focus on the additional menu options available for those users who are granted the additional role of Leave Manager. I'm going to log in as Leave Manager. And just a reminder too, in case you want to just make sure of all the roles that have been assigned to you, underneath your name in the lower right or lower left-hand corner is a profile option. And in there is an area of your roles, and it will show you the roles that were assigned to you. So Pam Hatfield has the Leave Manager role. So if I go to the home screen here, users with the Leave Manager role, you will see the pending workflows task area on the home screen. However, if you do not have an approver role, you will not see any leave requests waiting to be approved. So I have the leave request approval active right now, but I don't have anything underneath here because I do not have an approver role. However, the resend leave data, the resend leave request data area, this area will only ever include leave requests that fail to complete somewhere in the workflow process, usually a technical issue. For example, if a leave request is processing and let's say ESS system went down, the workflow for that leave request will be halted and will require manual intervention from the Leave Manager or somebody with a more elevated role to go into the resend leave data request area and resend the data to the next step of the workflow process. So if you do come across a situation like that where basically the leave request is in a stuck situation and you need to release it, you want to go into this resend leave request data area, and you'll be able to find that one and resend the data to the next workflow process. Along with the standard user roles, which we see here, the Leave Manager will also have underneath the leave request two additional options here: an elevated create leave request and the view district leave. So underneath the elevated create leave request, if you need to create a leave request on behalf of a user, this is what the Leave Manager can do. They can go in here underneath the employee field here, you can select the employee, and it basically takes you to a blank leave request form where you go ahead and fill it out just like you would normally fill out your own leave request and enter the information for the user. And then what happens is once you submit it on behalf of that employee, the leave request will go through the proper workflow, and the employee will see that leave request under their My Leave Request grid. However, on the leave request approval trail underneath that leave request, the user who submitted it will reflect your name. But as Leave Manager, you do have the ability to create a leave request for somebody on behalf in case they're out of the office and it needs to be done. Under the View District Leave, you will be able to view detailed leave requests for anyone in the district by clicking on the eye icon. So, and you can, obviously use the filter row here to help narrow down your search, as well as the More button over here to add or remove columns from your grid. But as Leave Manager, so before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and just view one of these here by just clicking on it. And I'm going to view this vacation one here. And again, you're going to see the full details of the leave, from the leave request details, the daily detail, and the leave request approval trail. So you're basically able for this one to view the information. With some of these, in particular, the professional leave category, I'm going to select that. You'll notice that on the grid, for any professional leave requests that are initiated and I believe approved and exported status, you are able to go in and edit those leave requests. So if I go in and edit Susan's initiated professional leave request, as a leave manager, I'm not able to go in and make changes to her leave request area. Because this is a professional leave request area, if they have entered information under the leave expenses area portion, I am, as leave manager, able to go in and make any necessary changes, or maybe add some things. If the budget account code for their registration, their lodging and their mileage, if those weren't added, I can go in here and filter and add those codes in here. So there's only specific areas of the leave request that I can edit as leave manager. Also, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of there, and I'm going to go back in and just view one of these professional leave requests here. And you'll also see down in the corner here, when I'm viewing them, I can also print a leave expense form. So that allows me to go in and print any professional leave type requests containing leave expense information. So it creates it it formats it into a PDF form that gets downloaded, and then I can print that off or send it to somebody, but it's in a PDF format. I'm going to go ahead and close out of there. Also, I'm going to go ahead and X out of the professional here. And another thing that the leave manager can do on this grid is they can cancel. You'll notice that the cancel option is available on some of these statuses. I can cancel a user's initiated leave request, and I can also cancel an approved request. So, those are options that are available for the leave manager. Obviously, I can't do that on an exported or rejected or something like that, but I can on these two type, the initiated and the approved. Also, just a side note that leave managers are able to reject or approve someone's leave. That is handled, though, underneath the leave management menu, underneath the escalated approval, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. So those are the two additional options that a leave manager has access to under the leave request, the elevated and the view. The next thing we're going to talk about is the leave management menu. So as leave manager, you will have access to the entire leave management option. So I'm just going to click on it so you can see all the options that are available. And so we're going to go over each of these. So the absence threshold. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to view one of these existing ones. What this is it allows you to set an allowable absence percentage by building. So the threshold percentage is the percent of positions allowed to take leave on a given day for that building. So for example, here I have listed 20%. So if the threshold has been exceeded for that day and someone from that building tries to create a leave request, they will receive an error message preventing them from posting. Also, as an approver, if the threshold has been exceeded and an approver is trying to approve a leave request, a notification will be displayed stating that there are open leave requests for that specified date or that building that exceeded the percentage of absences allowed for that day. So those leave requests will be highlighted in red. However, as an approver, this is just a warning, and the approver may proceed with approving, or they can reject them if they obviously don't want to go over the threshold amount. So as leave manager, you are responsible if you're, want to enforce this in your district, to set up the absence threshold. And then, like I said, if it does go past that percentage, the user will not be able to create a leave request, and approver has the ability to either approve or reject. The next option is the blackout dates. So as leave manager, you have the ability to create blackout dates and to maintain these. So a blackout date consists of a period of time or a specific date where leave requests are typically restricted, like holidays, for example. This is usually tied to a district policy and or USPS job calendar setup on what leave types and dates in conjunction with the employee's positions or pay groups are considered blackout dates on the district calendar. So I'm just going to view one of these that is already created. Obviously, if you wanted to create one, you click on create. We're going to view one that's already been set up. Let's pick on the Thanksgiving one here. So I'm just going to view it. And so this is what you're going to see basically when you are creating a blackout date period. So you have to provide a label for the blackout date period. And then from here, you have some check boxes. The notify manager, and it's what's nice is that, I believe the notify manager one has a tooltip as well. So if you want to notify the manager, or I'm sorry, if that is checked, what that's going to do is send an email to the leave managers if any leave is requested during the blackout date range. So, as leave manager, if this is checked, you will receive an email to let you know that someone has requested a leave request during the blackout date range. Enabled is just that, it's just enabling this blackout date period. So once you create the period, you'll want to enable it to make sure that it gets enforced as soon as you create it. And the entire day, if the blackout period applies to the entire day, then you leave that checked. If it doesn't, you will need to uncheck it, and then you'll have an option to put in a starting end time. So maybe a pre-planned 2-hour delay or something like that. The start date, an ending date, and if you can also, if the entire day is unchecked, you'll have the start time and ending time as well. Well, this will allow you to obviously put in the date range of the blackout period. So that could be a couple days. For example, Thanksgiving break, we have it set up for 3 days, and it's 3 full days. Holiday, again, Christmas, it may be a week and a half that it's set up for. With the leave types, you can specify the leave type that should be included in the blackout date. If all apply, then otherwise you just want to leave this blank to include all leave types. You can also filter by employee and their position, or leave blank to include them all, or a specific pay group or department. And then once you have it set up, you click on create to save your blackout date, and that blackout date, as long as it's enabled, will be enforced. So there's also an option that the district can configure regarding restricting leave requests from being created during blackout dates. So this doesn't restrict it, it just sets up the blackout date. But if you want to restrict people from creating leave request for the blackout date, there is a configuration option in the system menu that can be completed in order to restrict them. The district leave analysis is a grid that will provide you leave balance information for all staff, as well as their leave request details. So this is very similar to a supervisor leave analysis option that we have for approvers. So with this grid here, that top portion displays the district employees' leave balance information, and you can use the filter row to narrow down your search. If you would like to view a specific employee's leave request information, what you can do is filter on that employee. I'm going to pick on Susan, and then I'm going to select her. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on See Leave for Selected. And what that's going to do then is provide all the leave request information that Susan has on file here. And so you'll see each row has information about a particular leave request that she has submitted. What's nice about this is, at the top, shows me the leave balances, whereas the bottom shows me the details that make up these balances. And the approval status is a nice one here. I can go in and say, all right, out of these, I just want to see any approved. And I can filter there, and that's all I'm going to see on my grid. Or maybe I just want to see the sick leave, so I can filter that. But that's basically what this does. Both of these, the top and the bottom grid, have the ability to export this information into CSV files. So if I uncheck Susan and uncheck this as well to refresh this. There we go. It will display everybody again. And then obviously, if I want to export this to a CSV file, I can select export grid, and everyone that's on this top level will be exported into a CSV file. Obviously, too, like I said, if I just select Susan and just select her leave request information, once that's down here in this bottom grid, I can also click on export grid items, and it will pull all of that into a CSV file as well. The escalated approval, this allows you to escalate outstanding staff leave requests. So as leave manager, you'll be able to singularly or mass approve outstanding leave requests directly. And that means bypassing the approval workflow. So when that does happen, like I said, you go in and you select one of these, or if you wanted to mass approve all of them and escalate them all, you can click on the top box. But what that will do, you can notice too, I can go in and filter and stuff. But what that will do is it'll basically, once I click on approve or reject, it's totally going to bypass the workflow, and I will be the only and final approver or reject it for this leave request. So if the if the leave request does get approved, what's going to happen is the originator will be notified via email that the request has been approved. And when the originator views their leave request, under the leave request approver trail, it will include you as the approver, and in the note area, it will specify that it was an escalated approval, so that the originator is aware that this bypassed the workflow and was directly escalated by the leave manager. The export leave history, this grid contains information about exported leave only. In order for a leave request to appear on this grid, it must first be exported via the export leave request option, which is the next option right here. So, so the leave has to be exported before it can appear on the export leave history grid here. So let's talk about some of the stuff that you're seeing in here. So first off, just kind of looking at the top here of our most recent one, if I want to go in and just view this information, I can click on the view requests, and this will allow you to view all the exported leave requests included in that export run. So from here, you can click on each exported leave request to view a summary of the leave request that was already exported. So I could click on one of these and you'll see summarized information below. So, and if I keep going, it'll change and show a different view for each one. So I'm going to close out of that. The revert, and when you hover over these two, it will tell you what that icon means. The revert leave details allows you to remove the exported flag from selected exported leave requests in order to revert their status back to an approved status. So if I pick on this one that I did and I just click on revert, and it will show me everything included in that run. However, I don't have to revert the entire thing if I don't want to. Maybe I just want to revert this last one. I would just select that one, and then click on Remove Exported Status Flag from Selected Records. And what's going to happen then is that leave request will no longer show as exported. It'll be sent back to the approved status. If I wanted to select all and revert the entire thing, I could click on that top box. It will select them all. And again, I click on Remove Exported Status Flag, and it will change them all back to an approved status. The Export Again option allows you to recreate an already exported leave file in a CSV format so that it can be uploaded into USPS. So for some reason, maybe you did do the export to a CSV file a couple of days ago. You cannot find the file. You can't find it on your laptop, and you're like, all right, I just want to recreate the file. You can just go right in here, go to that export that you did a couple of days ago. It's still out here. In order just to recreate it, you click on the Export Again, and it will basically ask you, do you want to download this detail as a CSV file? When you click on download, you'll create a CSV file, and then that can automatically, or that can be imported into USPS. One other thing, just to make note of this too, this Export Again doesn't change any statuses. They're still exported statuses. Just because you recreated the CSV file, that doesn't change the status of the leave request. They will still stay as exported. One thing to make note of too, if you need to cancel an exported leave request that has already been posted to USPS, after using the revert option, it will send the leave request back to an approved status in ESS. Now from there, the leave manager or the originator can cancel that leave request in ESS. So this, doesn't automatically adjust things though on the USPS side. So one thing that you'll want to do then is make sure on the USPS side that the district needs to create an adjustment to the employee's attendance. Leave information is there as well to cancel that leave. The export leave requests, a lot of stuff going on in this menu, but this is basically where the leave manager is able to export leave requests with the status of approved in order to post the leave information into USPS. So this is where you're going in, went through the whole workflow approval, it's sitting out there waiting for you to export it, and this is where this information is. So by going in and using these filters here, then you're able to filter the data that you want, create the export file, and either directly post that into USPS or create a CSV file where you can manually import it into USPS. So let's talk about some of these options that you're seeing in here. Okay, so on the bottom half, by default, the grid displays all fully approved leave requests waiting to be exported. So and again, you can resort if you want to. So if you don't do any type of filtering and you select all of these, it will take all of this information, and that's what's going to be exported into a CSV file or directly exported and imported into USPS. So usually what districts will do is they'll use the filter option above here to filter this information. So let's say I want to filter it by a specific pay period, and I just want to pull the leave requests for that pay period. So I'm going to put in, let's say the pay period is the 16th through the 30th. And as I'm doing that, you'll notice that my grid down below is automatically adjusting. It's adjusting to those leave requests that are inclusive of that start and end period. I can further filter by selecting specific employees, specific pay groups or billing codes, specific leave type or appointment type, and filter this even more. So once filtered, The grid, like I said, at the bottom will adjust to only include your filtered leave requests. If you want to include all of these leave requests on the grid, you can select the top box and click Export Leave Requests. However, if you only want to include specific leave requests from the grid, then you just select only those leave requests and click Export Leave Requests. But I want to make a special note here. If you would prefer to generate a preview report of what will be exported, once you select those specific leave requests, so let's just, for example, I just select these two. What I can do is I can go and click on Print Pre-Export Report instead. And what it will do is it will generate a CSV file of the leave request that will be exported. So by running a pre-export, it doesn't make any changes to the grid or the status of those leave requests. It just gives you a chance to review the data before you proceed with the actual exporting of the leave request. So it's a run through, it's a trial run, it's a preview is what that is. And that's going to create a CSV file so you can look it over and say, yep, everything looks good. And then once you're okay with that, you would go back in here, same information will appear, and then you select the ones that you want to actually export. Again, if you select them all, they all will be, or if you just want specific ones, you can select those. And then you're going to click on the export leave requests. And what happens then is it will provide two export methods. You're going to have a CSV file and you're going to have a direct to USPS. So you can only choose one export method. Okay, so if you select the CSV file, all selected leave in the grid will be saved into a CSV file called leave request export.csv. And so this file can then be imported into USPS manually via the USPS attendance absence import option. So if you wanted to directly post to USPS, again, all selected leave on the grid will automatically be posted. A resulting leave request export errors.csv file will be generated, listing the number of records that were posted successfully, as well as any possible errors that prevented certain entries from not posting to USPS. So those are the two methods. So once you complete an export, it will remove those leave requests from the grid. They are now exported status. They're no longer at an approved status. You can still go in to Leave Manager and view those leave requests underneath the leave requests. Let me cancel out of here. Under the leave request, view district leave. Now they're just going to show as exported instead of approved. The next option under leave management is the leave expense report. So this allows you as a leave manager to view or download any district leave requests that contain leave expense information. So that's basically your professional leave requests. You may use the filter row above to filter leave requests, as well as use that more option to add or remove columns from the grid in order to customize it. And that's, you have the ability to view it and you have the ability to print a report of it. So that's basically what this is just basically a reporting tool that you have in a grid to either view or print it. So when you do view one, you do have the option in here as well to print the leave expense form. And this option here does the same thing as the download. It'll create a PDF file of the leave expense information of that form. And the last one I want to talk about is subcategories. So a subcategory further defines a leave type. For example, when creating a personal leave request, subcategories can be displayed, allowing the user to select a specific subcategory for personal leave, like family emergency, personal business, something like that. So this is where the leave manager will create those subcategories to be used on the leave request form. So districts can configure it so that staff is required to select a subcategory for a specified leave type while creating their leave request. So that is something that can be set up. What we're going to do is we're going to view one of these that have already been created. And here's one, the family emergency subcategory that was created under sick leave. So I'm just going to view this. And so what happens is when you create one, you're giving it a category code. And then you're entering in a description. You'll note that both of these are required. They're noted with a dot. And then from there, you're entering in the specific leave type that is going to require this subcategory. And in this case, it is sick leave. And then you want to enable it basically by setting it as active. And then you also have the option here for a reason, to require a reason. So what happens is when a user goes in then and creates a leave request, and it's a sick leave request, it will prompt them for a subcategory. And when they do that, one of the options they'll have is FE for a family emergency. And if they select that one and reason required is checked, they will be required to enter in a reason after they select the subcategory. They won't be able to complete the leave request and submit the form until that reason is entered in. One other side note too, if the district does delete a subcategory and there are existing leave requests that contain that subcategory, the subcategory will no longer be displayed on that leave request, but the reason details will stay in it. They will stay put, they will not get removed. Okay. So that just kind of in a nutshell, we went through all the different options available underneath leave management. The only other thing down here is the absence management, and the absence management integration options are available for leave managers if the district is integrating with Frontline's absence management application. We won't be covering these options in this demo. They will be covered in a separate overview recording of the absence management integration with ESS. So we won't be covering that. The batch job information as well, if I click on that, all that's going to do is show the leave manager the different scheduled batch jobs that are available and are run. They're scheduled jobs that are run in the system. So that's all that really needs to be said regarding the batch jobs. Other than that, I believe that's all the important features of a leave manager in the ESS system. So if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your ITC and they'll help you out with that. Thank you.